Hi again. Well, we're back again with part 2. It's the next day. I just wanted to mention one other thing about these. I just briefly said that I had a V15 Mark III, and that's that. Then this, again, didn't have a starless, and I got a Jayco starless for it again, for this one, like I did for the Mark II, but I did not get the SAS starless. I got their regular starless. I was going to buy an SAS starless, and I thought, oh, I'll get this regular one and I can use it on my more scratchy records, because the SAS starlesses have a limited life and you need to be very pristine and have very clean records when you use them. But anyway, I've been really blown away by this. I know they probably vary in quality, but I've been really blown away how good the regular starless is, and it wasn't expensive. I picked it up for like $50 or something. It's really good. Now everybody says out of the old Shure line of cartridges that the Mark III was the best, and I think I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's a better all-round with that particular starless on it. Anyway, it's a better all-round cartridge, especially for putting things up on YouTube. But I've also got the next one up from this, the Mark IV I've used, and with the other 3-arm. I think there's a video up on my channel about that too. As we're talking about Shure cartridges, I thought I'd mention this cheap Shure they brought out, more modern one. This is the M97X. A lot of people use this because it was at a reasonable price. I think about $75 to $95 this one came out at. It's got the little brush on the front and everything, and the starlesses are interchangeable, so that's not a bad starless. I mean, it's not as good as the Mark II or the Mark III, but it's okay. It tracks at between 3/4 and 1.5 grams, so it's nice and light. And it's like a knockoff of the Mark IV, I think. I could be wrong about that. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. Also, what's good about that, this is, I think I showed you this one before, which is the Shure M97S. That's a cheap 78 cartridge, which is not bad. I got 2 of those. I have another one here, and I used to keep this one. I put the red on for the more really scratchy 78s, and then I ran this for the pristine ones. But now I have the Grando cartridge for 78s too. But what I wanted to mention was you can actually interchange the starlesses on these and actually put it into the better. This just pulls out. You can put it into the better cartridge if you want. You have to be careful with some of these, like not interchange them into a different type, because these shafts are different sizes and you can do some real damage. But this particular one interchanges quite well, so if you want to play a 78 on slightly better quality, you can. So now I've got the flexibility that I've got a 78 needle for the Shure V15 Mark II. I've got and I say I can also take this and put into either one of the cartridges too. And they do make one for the Mark III at a reasonable price I saw online, so I might pick up a 78 one for this as well. As I've mentioned before, there's one drawback with these Grando cartridges, which I showed you earlier. They tend to pick up hum. They have like windings in here, coil windings, and if they get near a motor, particularly on the older style turntable, it will pick up some hum. So that's why I have other 78 cartridges as well. Although the overall sound of this cartridge is really, really good on 78s, but it does pick up hum, and I've heard other people complain with their cartridges for all their other cartridge line that's got that field. And I've tried them on my other decks, and you pick up hum just the same. It's not just because that's a 50-year-old turntable. Anyway, I'm going to get back to my book and show you some other things around that I recorded yesterday. Then I'll do a bit more after that. And then there's all the blurb from the different Shure cartridges, different models that we have. So I'll just try and cut this short, but it's got all the different stuff here and the different weights and everything. This is other blurb for other cartridges. That's for the other model arm I had on a turntable you probably saw on my videos. And then I get to my speakers. I have these Tannoy 15-inch monitor gold speakers. I'll just take that out and show you. There's one there with Merry Christmas on it. And their dual concentric speakers, been fantastic. I went to the factory with my dad and picked those up when I was a little boy. I remember distinctly going. And that's the same cabinet right there. And this is just all the blurb from the Tannoy, and there's a crossover units. And this is my, oh yes, more speakers there. This is, I have a Tannoy subwoofer which I use with my Yamaha Preamp when I'm using that, which is there. And there's a Tannoy subwoofer hiding in the corner there. So that's the blurb for the subwoofer. And then we get on to my Bose speakers, which are my rear speakers. And I tended to use those antique Bose speakers because they have a really nice sound coverage, as you can see here. And they're really cool. And that's the blurb for those, which I'll just show you the speakers, I guess. Yeah, mounted up on the wall there. As you can see, pretty cool. There's two of them. Another one up over here. And that's my for my rear surround sound. And I have another center speaker there. Moving right along, this is my C2 Yamaha Preamp, which I showed you a little while ago, and that's all the blurb on that. And I think we're just about there. Just so, and this is my DBX, about the ambient sound I was telling you about. This was my tube amp I had. You've probably seen this in some of my other videos. I keep moving my system around all the time. And that's the tube it uses, a 12AX7. My system changes all the time from one thing to another. This is my Macintosh. This is the manual for my Macintosh Preamp. Hang on, I'll just take this out here. That's the Mac amp, and there's the actual amp. There, I've had a plastic cover made for it because it's kind of cool, and I've changed the lights out with LEDs, which is a good mod on those. And there's the other amp that goes with it there. So that's the information on that. Different grass and stuff. It used to come in a nice wooden box. It would have been nice to have had that, but anyway, with the plastic you can see the works. And here's the original manuals for the 600, which is this amp there. And there, I've just got the whole box in there. And this one is for the tuner, which is right there. So now we're back to looking at turntables again. This is what I'm currently using to play my... I use it mainly to play more scratchy records I've picked up, or ones I haven't washed yet or cleaned. And it's got a pretty good stylus on it. I'll just show you a brief little video off the screen what kind of one it is. Of course, is a DJ turntable. This is a PT2000, one of the early Gemini one. It's a high torque direct drive turntable, and it does basically the same as the other ones, but it doesn't have the feature where you can click the two buttons together to get 78. Unfortunately, it's more like the other deck. But it's a very powerful motor on it, and it's a proper DJ turntable. This is a mat I put on. This is a slip mat here. So if you were scratching, you can slip. So that's the idea of that. But I tend to just put that on because it keeps the resonance down. I got a yellow one to match the nightclub Ordophone pickup. That works pretty good. Okay, one other little feature I wanted to show you that I built in my system is that I'm under the impression that you get different amplifier, different cartridges to get different sound, and it depends on what kind of record you're playing. So I've got my speakers hooked up, so I can switch to a different amplifier. So I can just, those speakers are now off, these on, I can turn my Yamaha on, and that's got a sub of course. And now we're running on the Yamaha, and we're using the subwoofer as well. And I like to be able to go on to surround sound as well, which is good, and just change it. So anyways, that's a little feature I did. I'm just gonna hang on. We'll shut the sound off for a second here. I just wanted to point out that another important feature to put on any speakers, especially if you've got 50-year-old speakers you don't want to blow up, is put a fuse in. I know there's all this about, oh, I got to use great big thick wire. I hate to say it, it's a load of rubbish, but sounds just as good on a coat hanger. Main thing is, I've got 1 amp fuses in here, so if I crank my volume even too loud, it'll blow the fuse. Better blow a fuse and my 50-year-old speakers. So that's a little feature I did. Now I'm back, and with this particular Macintosh amp, you can't blow the amplifier by being open circuit or anything, but as a precaution, because both amplifiers are turned on at any one point, this is a 3-pole switch, so it has a middle position, so that's completely open to both amplifiers in between switching them, so you're not going to get any stray currents and blow up your amplifiers. Okay, so that's a nice feature to do. Anybody wants a circuit for that sometime, I can help you out with that. You only have to switch the 1 red wire from each channel and just put your grounds together, because it's common ground to the chassis on all these amplifiers. Another little thing I have here is one of the 45 players. Everybody's seen this. Comes in 2 models. This is just the deck version, and that plugs in through a preamp in the same way a regular record player works, but it just works the for 45s, and they have a volume on here which is just like a pad, so it's best just to bypass that and just use the switch and put in a modern cartridge. I have another one in the other room that has the amplifier built in. Maybe I'll give that a play for you just to show you. Yeah, so this is the one with the amplifier built in, so you can rock around the clock with the 45s if you want to. He beat out a song in the old lunchroom. All the guys and gals gather round. They're tube amps, of course. I put a modern pickup in it. I still got some work to do on the other one, but that's another little thing. I've got lots of other turntables kicking around, but this is what I've got in my main system. Anyway, that was my little bit of self-indulgence at the end of the year, and a little look at my system, what I have at the moment anyway. So I hope you enjoy that, and I hope you keep watching my videos. Happy New Year to everyone, and goodbye.